Now, bringing you the very best in New Hampshire-based local music on IPMNation.com and 100.1 The Planet, this is Local Outbreak. We happen to have three members of Sepsiss here with us live in studio. William, Melissa, and Zachy B are all here. Welcome.
Hey.
Hello.
Good morning.
And welcome to the new studio here. Y'all haven't been here since we moved.
I am I'm basking in the ambiance.
It is absolutely gorgeous.
Isn't it nice? Yeah.
This is
a major upgrade.
This is so much nicer, and I don't. It's crazy because I didn't want to say that going in because I didn't know like what the deal was with you guys, departing. That the other place was nice too.
Yeah,
but this is
way
this
better.
is great.
Oh, our own building, our own name on the building.
Yeah.
We're not hidden on a third floor somewhere in a big
That's
building.
what I was gonna say.
Right?
I usually get more exercise when I come and visit you guys.
This is true.
Right.
This is chill.
yeah. At the old place, you would never even know that there was a radio station up there. There was nothing on the outside of the building that would indicate that there was anything.
Right.
The facade is great. You're right across the street from Premier Manchester live music, Jewel.
Yep.
Yes, and that's a very important place, isn't it?
I just think it's location-wise, it's great.
I
Because
love that you can just walk right down there.
I love more that
Just right
you guys
there.
are even closer to where I live now because
really?
I'm right next to CMC, so I'm like, oh wow, like I can see them from my house. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
and like
Very
for
good.
us, like when we play Manchester, we play Jewel.
Yep.
Yep.
So when we play our hometown venue, and then you guys are right across the street.
Yeah. Yes.
Literally.
And Jewel's important because, we all know what's coming up.
That's right.
Swarmy Fest.
That's right. That's right. No, we're doing 2 stages this year, and we did 2 stages last year, and I was terrified because I never done it before.
Yeah.
Anytime I'm doing something I've never done before.
See, I wasn't terrified because I knew NH Booking had done festivals with 2 stages before, so I was like,
Yeah.
I kind of get the idea of how they run things like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Richie told me not to be terrified, but
Yeah.
I still will.
I don't blame
It's
you.
something I do.
I don't blame
Right.
you at all.
I know.
I would be terrified with one stage.
Yeah.
Event coordinating is not like being in a band. It's being in a band is not. There's not so much people pleasing, but that there is an event coordinating.
Yeah.
I mean, you got the guests, but you got the bands, and all the bands come with their own personalities and their own requirements. And if you're coordinating the event, the thing you really want to have happen is everybody to leave that night and want to do it again.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's so hard to do,
Yep. Exactly. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah. And when is it for our listeners who don't know?
So for the tradition, we're continuing to do the first Saturday of November. So this year it'll be on the 2nd.
Okay.
So we're going to try to keep that tradition, but
Yeah.
we really want to stay away from the Halloween shows
Yeah.
because you get that cluster of Halloween shows.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's true.
2 type of shows Sepsiss doesn't do is Halloween shows or St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
So we're trying to keep it more closer to Thanksgiving, a Thanksgiving show.
Sure. Sure.
On my calendar, it says Swarmy Fest Day.
I love that.
Yeah.
That is
there you go.
awesome. I love it.
So now, who's going to be playing this year, and are you still adding to it?
I can't tell. And that's because this year we're going to do like a band a week. So it starts next month. Us and NH Booking will probably release a band a week.
Yeah.
Nice.
So each week heading towards Swarmy Fest, we'll have bands to learn about as it goes.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Every band will have their own flyer. Every band will have their own. We're gonna try to do really well with the images and the artwork this year. And
So when will that start? When you release the name of?
I would love it to start at the beginning of July. But we got this thing called Rockfest coming up.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah.
So we have a second album that we're trying to complete. We're pretty close, and then we have this building Swarmy Fest, and then we have Rockfest. So between these 3 priority events, it's been challenging to juggle all of them.
Yeah, no doubt.
And keep it balanced. And that comes down, Matt, that comes down to money. Money and pre-production and planning, and then quality, because it's like if we have the time to get something done, the quality that we predict or expect or hope or plan it to be, right?
Yeah.
And then you have like your budget and like how you're going to be fiscally responsible. I don't know how the bands do it, but we're a business, so we have to be also like fiscally responsible, liquid and inventory. And so when we have merchandise, we're a direct-to-consumer style gift shop.
Yeah.
So we depend, some artists depend on streaming. We depend on hats, T-shirts, stickers.
That's not unusual.
Meeting people, streams, broadcasts. So we're a little more touchy-feely, I guess.
Well, in terms of the merch, I mean, that is where the money is anyway, really. I mean, you know.
For us, it's also where the discovery is.
What do you mean?
We're a brand. So that a lot of times people discover us not through our music, Matt. People discover us through podcasts, live streams. A lot of times when people ask, how do we get booked for big shows or how are we getting big opportunities? It's never the music.
Interesting.
It's never the music. It's never my guitar playing.
Huh.
You know, it's never songwriting. It's people resonate with the message.
Yeah.
People lock into a human wavelength. And people vote, you know, you used to do politics. People vote for who they like. You know, it doesn't, you know, people don't vote for who's right or wrong. People vote for who they like.
Yeah. Oh, that's absolutely true.
People want to feel good, man.
Yep.
And so we're in the hospitality business. We're entertaining people. We're in the business of making people feel good. You know, keeping people informed, and we're a polarizing group. So people love us or they don't. But that proves that we have the output. So we know as a band that our job is constantly looking for our fans.
Yeah.
And so that's the move. And anytime that you have quality and you have your budget and you have the time to do it, you have to sacrifice one. So that's kind of the road to Swarmy Fest right now, and releasing our next album. A lot of our friends that are in bands, they've released 8 albums, 7 albums.
Sure.
Me and Melissa didn't record and release any professional music until 2020. As you know, that was a difficult time. For people to do anything.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But we don't have albums prior to 2020. So I mean, this is our 4th year anniversary since releasing almost 11. We've had a few singles since then, but we don't want to be a band with a catalog, an enormous catalog where great music in the streaming world, where great music that people could discover might get lost in the sauce.
Sure.
So we're, again, like quality, timing, and resources. We're not a forever band, and we're not made of money. So we want our legacy to speak in terms of quality and care and craftsmanship, you know, and we want to resonate with the people that really matter the most and can benefit. So Rockfest has been a tremendous undertaking because plane tickets, our staff, I don't know if people understand the scope of how large these festivals are, you know, 30, 50,000 people.
Oh yeah.
We're also the finale band. So we got to be on the field out, you know, for 12, 14 hours, and then still be able to hang and play our set. We're playing an hour set.
Yeah.
July 20th.
July 20th.
We play
which is in Connarton, Wisconsin. We're going to be flying out there, and we play as soon as Jelly Roll gets off.
No kidding.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
We're right
intense.
after him.
Yeah. That's a great opportunity. Yeah.
In the sense of Rockfest, it's cool because we're the last metal band or rock band that you're going to hear for the fest. So
Okay.
so as a finale band, we have a tremendous opportunity.
Yeah.
People leave before the headliner a lot of times so they can beat the traffic.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
and people that are there for rock and metal, if they're not there for Sepsiss, they're going to leave before Jelly Roll, you know?
Right.
If they're not fans of country or Jelly Roll, whatever that's going to be. So people that are like traditional hardcore and metal people, we know that if they stayed, that they're staying to watch the set.
Mm-hmm.
And we plan on putting on one hell of a show too, believe me.
Yeah.
We've got a whole new performance planned for this, new dance moves.
Yeah.
New
We've really
wardrobe.
taken our time to upgrade our stage package. So like we've got new gear, new in-ear monitors, head brushes, all kinds of stuff.
It really takes time, like figuring out what the tools are going to be. The world's changed a lot. So in order to go across country 25 years ago, you might have to rent big amplifiers or, 2 carry-on bags. And then, if you check a bag, hundreds of dollars to try to check in luggage. And so luckily, our band has been using technology for a while that we don't bring on big amplifiers anymore. All of our technology you can put in a bag,
right,
except for the drums. So, but we had to drop ship all of our merchandise, rent drums out there. And
okay.
It's difficult.
Yeah,
you don't want to. I mean, a lot of bands get the opportunity to play large festivals, and in their defense, not a lot of people have the team and the budget that's all going to come together. Like we all come together and we sit down and we go, how can we come together and make the most of this?
Mm-hmm.
So like for us, we planned for 9 months.
Yeah.
Because we're not rich, but we planned for 9 months. That way we can chip away at things and we can work together as a team.
Yep.
So we go, how are we going to get this merch table filled? There's a lot of small bands like us that might have this opportunity, and it's great they play, but they have nothing to leave, or they haven't planned how they're gonna. Like for us, I don't want to give all the tricks of the trade, but we literally sit down with think tanks and go, well, how are we going to make a connection? Mm-hmm. How are we going to make our live performance different from the other bands? How are we going to use the 12 hours? What events? What are we going to do? Each of us. What are we going to do to add value to the company? What are we going to do to get people in front of that stage?
Yeah.
What's the priority list? And we kind of work our way down and check the boxes and go, what do we set out to achieve with this? Because a lot of people get a chance to play Swarmy Fest or a big stage or Rock Fest, and it's fun, right? And of course, making money is cool and all of that. But what do you set out to achieve long term? And that's what's important for us. Maybe that might differ from some other acts. Is we know we're going out there representing New Hampshire, New England, and not a lot of heavy metal and hard rock bands from New Hampshire ever get this opportunity.
Yeah. Well, what you're talking about too requires, there's a degree of discipline to that, right? All that planning that not everyone.
There's contracts.
Yeah.
There's discipline. There are rules. There's, safety. And the thing that a lot of independent artists don't want to talk about is investment. Mm-hmm. We invest in ourselves, not just money, the time.
Yeah.
Melissa spoke on it earlier. We don't just sit around and practice. We're rehearsing for this thing. We take each show and each stage as a special case. We're looking at blueprints. Mm-hmm. We're looking at stage plots. And we're trying to make each show and each experience unique.
Have you always approached it that way? Or is that something you kind of had to develop over time?
Melissa?
I would say that was something that we've always done.
Yeah.
We've always tried to.
We've tried
put
to.
on a stage performance.
We tried to.
Yeah.
In the early days, people used to say we were like it's kind of funny. It's like a compliment now, but they used to say we sounded like a wasp's nest, like a shaken up bag of bees. Because we had this great idea, but it was kind of all over the place. Earlier in the scene, we were kind of known for being zigging and zagging. Oh, yeah. But we've got such an incredible team and lineup right now. This is the first time we've worked with musicians in the band that me and Melissa didn't have to train.
Oh, interesting.
So,
interesting.
Yeah. So, and of course, my brother Salvatore Pan's back on drums. He's a legacy member. He's the longest member of Sepsiss ever. So we're back with our original drummer, and we have a whole new staff and a revitalized, re-energized group. And this is the first time we're working with musicians and instrumentalists and staff members that are familiar with the project and want to be here and that are benefiting from the full features of the project.
Yeah.
And this is the first group of people we've worked with professionally that I didn't have to train myself.
Now, what do you mean when you say train?
I had to train. I
mean, you don't mean literally teach someone to play their instrument.
No, I mean literally teach people how to play instruments.
Really?
Of course.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's not a knock. You know what I mean? We've had a lot of people that have been really positive contributors to the project.
Yeah.
But in their defense, this music is really unique, and it when you listen to it, it sounds like something everybody should be able to play, and that we designed it like that.
Yeah.
We designed the music so it sounds like it should be easy to play.
Well, some of those guitar solos you play do not sound easy to me.
But instrumentalists, and maybe I'm wrong, but we've had a lot of people pick up the sticks or try to pick up a guitar. Let me get a shot at that riff.
Yeah.
And then get to working around it. And it's one thing even if you work it out by yourself, but getting 5 or 6 people in a room and everybody doing it together and having it all work out.
Yeah.
Is really ambitious.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I've had to teach people how to play instruments, but I've also had to teach them how to play Sepsiss because it's not just like playing guitar. It's like playing Sepsiss, man.
It's a whole nother monster on its own.
It really is.
For sure.
It really is.
Hey, I want to ask you all about streaming.
Yeah.
You mentioned it, and you've posted a lot. I've seen individually and as a band. Just actually really over the last couple of years, I've seen a lot about. I think did you pull everything from like that you had on Spotify and all that?
So
I'm really curious about this.
So that's that is a great question because they're not. I think you hear that a lot for effect. You hear a lot of people doing that for good stories. Now we're pulling from Spotify, and the only reason why we haven't, is because, our first album we signed a record deal right off. We were.
Oh yeah, I remember you talking about this.
So me and Melissa, we were excited just like any other artist, and. We had A&Rs all over us when we came out with our first music. When we hooked up with Glenn Robinson and our life started to change, we could hear our music for the first time.
Yeah.
We started making, and once you hear your music, you start making it differently. We started writing it. Now, once we could hear it, we could organize it and make it differently. And then we just got a lot of A&Rs and record labels. And it's just like they tell you not to do it. We did it, Just like.
What do you mean?
To just tell you not to be naive, to give yourself time before we make the music, us as artists, and then as soon as the music's done, we're waiting for somebody to validate us.
Right.
Exactly.
Yes.
We're waiting for somebody to you put all of your life into it. You've practiced, you've invested, you went broke, you almost got evicted, and then as soon as the music's done, as soon as we're getting out the studio, we run out and give it away. Mm-hmm. This is why Lexi doesn't allow me on the merch table. Because because I want people to wear the shirts. I want people to wear the hats.
We'll give it all away.
We'll give it all away because
true.
Me and Melissa are sad artists that love making music. And
we just want to get our name out.
We want to get our name, and we want to be your friend.
I get
it. We want, and we want to play on stage. Isn't that silly? But that's So me, Melissa, and Zach, we're doing this a lot of time. It's sad, but because we like it and we're having fun, and this is really a family for us. This is really, we're really best friends in this band. So this is our time. We can sneak away and be with each other and be human and enjoy and live fully. This is how we live fully, by seeing people get sober through our music and people to survive with our music. And people have grown up with our music now. So we signed the record deal, and I people say, you should sign it. You should talk with a lawyer, when you sign a record deal.
Yep.
And I did, and my lawyer told me don't sign a record deal.
Yeah.
And I didn't listen to my lawyer, you know.
Yeah.
So people tell you to do these things, and I did these things, and I ignored everybody.
Yeah.
and then
that's what happened.
And then me and Melissa signed a contract, and then that was that. And we're still to this day. It's funny. We're making CDs for Rockfest, and I've been fighting with my record label forever. They can't stand me, but
So you're just to be clear, you're still locked into that?
oh, absolutely.
Really?
That is that is a very real thing.
Okay.
Yeah, Sony Orchard.
Okay.
The Orchard.
Okay. Oh yeah, I'm familiar. Yeah.
But it's not their fault, because all of these are acquisitional like companies, you know, like Sony doesn't sign people; they just acquire companies,
Right.
You know what I mean?
The
Like
smaller labels and
yes,
Yeah.
the music industry is an acquisitional
Yeah.
thing.
Well, radio.
You understand this, but when I tell my
Yeah.
friend this, they think I'm making shit. They think I'm making stuff up, you know. Caught myself there.
Yeah.
That they think I'm making stuff up.
Yeah.
So you understand it. No one's ever looked at me in the last year and said, "Oh, I get that."
Yeah.
Well,
there's a lot-
you just
yeah.
threw me off there, but
There's a lot of consolidation. That's the word I was looking for.
And
Yeah.
all the artists and all the labels, they're all still, even though we all know it's kind of silly, they're all still counting and playing off the mystique.
Sure.
You know, the magic and mystique. Everybody goes, well, how'd you get signed? I was just in the right place in the right time, and I played the right chord, and Melissa came out, and the wind blew, and then, you know.
A record company scout happened to
Yeah,
walk in and
right.
offered you a 10-album deal,
No,
fly you out to L.A. and
Right. No, we were taking good pictures. We had
Yeah.
strong social media. We got a great producer. Melissa's a killer host of the page, and
Thank you.
and people can see that we're willing to invest in ourselves.
yeah.
So we're an A&R's dream. You know?
Because that's what labels want now. You know, they don't want to do the A&R. They
Right.
want that already done,
Yep.
all set, and
We're a
just
perfect target.
Yep.
We're a perfect target. Oh, man, these guys work hard, and we really want it. You know, if you go and you approach some kids, 18, 19-year-old kids, they might change their mind.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they might get a girlfriend,
Right.
stuff like that.
Right.
You know, folks like us, we're perfect, because they go, you know, these guys know how to pay their bills.
Yeah.
These guys are fiscally responsible. You know, they can play their instruments. We've made mistakes, but not many of us have made the mistake, and they're all waiting for that. They're all going to get you. All of our friends and our deepest, closest celebrities and contacts in the industry, it's all happened to them too. We're just the only band that talks about it.
Yeah.
We're the only ones. There's nobody that talks about it. It's a very, because it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to because we're counting on the mystique
Right.
of being tough rock stars.
Right.
We're brilliant. Nobody can take advantage of us, and you know,
Yeah.
we're such experts, right? And it kills artists to go, I'm not an expert. I'm ambitious.
Yeah.
I developed my identity when I was a child, and I want to be like the guys that I saw on my wall and on the posters, and
And it's harder than ever to do that, right? Because in the social media era, it's whatever mystique you can, manage to have, it's harder than ever to hang on to that.
the low is lower and the high is higher. So the career climb, and whatever, we live in a society now too that like whatever you're not driven to do and whatever you haven't honed the talent for, you're encouraged to buy it. Everybody's a DJ. Everybody's a model. Everybody's So we're in that time now where content creation is one of the fastest growing industries on the planet.
Yes.
On the planet.
Yep.
So that's why I meant it earlier when people say, how did we get to open up for Jelly Roll at Rockfest? By going live on Facebook, man.
Yep.
How did I get a record deal? By having great social media and Melissa kicking butt,
Yep.
Thank you.
But that's how it's not because of guitar.
Yeah.
It's not the music.
But you still need the music.
Well,
I mean,
that's
you're
the conduit.
I mean, if you do everything else, but what you put out isn't of quality, then it's not gonna work.
Of
right?
course, you're not gonna be able to keep people. So this
Right.
is we're not a viral band. We were talking about the career climb.
Yeah.
We're a longevity band.
Yeah,
And that's what I meant about not having 15 albums.
it's a marathon, not a sprint.
For us, it is.
Yeah.
For us, it is. We waited our whole lives to be adults. We also make adult music. A lot of people are catering to a younger crowd, to kids and child format entertainment. Me and Melissa are, we do the adult thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we make music for adults. Our music is adult themed. Some kids like our music, but our music is, our demographic is for grown people with bills and boyfriends and girlfriends and relationships and, people that are.
My dad's a big fan, by the way.
That's awesome.
Are you serious?
Yeah. But my dad is unique. So my dad, he's in his 70s, but he's highly unusual in the sense that he loves hearing new music. He lives on the seacoast, so he listens to
goodness.
He listens to WUNH, the great college station there, because he's never been like, you wouldn't get in a car with my dad and hear oldies on the radio. It wouldn't happen.
That's a great station.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I grew up listening to that station.
Yeah. Oh yeah. College radio is wonderful. But my dad, he's always been like, he's hipper than me actually. Like he'll ask me about artists that I'm not even familiar with. I'm like, no, I don't know them. But yeah, he's always been like that. But he's a big fan of Sepsiss. He's not crazy about the name. Full disclosure.
Yeah.
But he said the name. I forget how he said it. It was funny. But he loves your music.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
I appreciate that, and I don't hold anybody. That doesn't hurt our feelings, because I'll tell you, now more than ever, as you get older, you start thinking about all the band names that you loved growing up.
Yeah.
So I loved, Cannibal Corpse, and
Yeah.
you got Butcher Babies, and now I'm a middle-aged guy. I'm going, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Sepsis and Butcher Babies, and Anthrax.
It really is crazy.
Right.
So when we made the name of the band, we didn't really name it after the medical term.
Yeah.
Me and Melissa didn't know any better. We just were like, let's name the band something cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let's make sure that we can have it on Google. That was our big thing.
It doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah.
It kind of means us.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
We just thought it sounded dangerous, and later on we found out all the things that happen when you grow up.
Yeah. But yeah, so Spotify. So are you still on there, or did you pull it?
So I'm sorry about that. That was such a crazy thing. So I would love to pull our music off of Spotify and do a massive press release. I think that would be so much fun.
Oh, so you haven't pulled it yet?
No,
Not
and
yet.
I can't, and I would like to, but there would be no reason for us to do it now, because our contract with our record label isn't up. So I could only pull down my own music, and then my record label would give me the finger,
right?
And say, well, you can't pull ours. And I was making a joke, because we're wild and rebellious and lawless heavy metal band. I'm always breaking rules, so I'm not supposed to make the record label mad.
Yeah.
But we're going to Rockfest, and I'm not supposed to really go through anybody else, for direct to consumer products.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm gonna backdoor these dudes, man, and go make my own CDs. And we went to one of our partners, and we started to generate the CDs, and immediately we got immediately the paperwork came through, and we got copyrighted
for your own.
Yeah.
music.
So this is like yesterday.
Go figure, right?
Yeah, so we're like, oh, they're never gonna see it. Like, we're moving it around.
Wow.
And that's how strong the technology was. Like, we got an email with less than 12 hours of them going, your record label's complaining, and we're gonna need written permissions and all that. I said, man, forget it. So we got another year with these guys, and then it is what it is. They owe me thousands of dollars.
Really? Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
That you've heard that, when they say to you, like, the bands and the TLC said it, and Bobby Brown said it, and Slipknot said it.
You can have a multi-platinum album and be broke. Absolutely.
Yes, man.
It's not an unusual story.
This is a wild thing. No, they took all of our money, man.
Yeah.
And then I confronted them and I said, you're stealing my money. And they said, well, we're going to continue to do it.
Because if you're already wealthy, you can hire an accounting firm or a lawyer to do an audit. But when you're not already wealthy, they know they've got you.
And remember what I said about acquisitional companies.
Yeah.
So what they do, okay, what record labels do, is they acquire a whole bunch of promising smaller artists, and then they have their boutique or white glove artists.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay? And they sign all of us, not because we're terrible, because we're really good. You can't really sign terrible people because you need people to go forward through the process. And the only type of people that are going to go forward and complete the signing process are driven people like Melissa.
Right.
So they need people who are willing to commit.
Yeah.
And that are good, because people that don't believe they're good, people that don't believe they deserve a shot aren't going to go and complete the process because the process is hard to get a record deal.
Yeah.
So only driven people that, you find somebody in their 30s that have been practicing their whole life. They've invested their whole life. They got great music. They start asking themselves, well, why shouldn't I be signed? This type of mentality is what A&Rs look for. And what happens is they acquire a whole bunch and then they throw it at the wall to see what sticks, right?
Yeah.
But most of them, and there's only a limited amount of people that are allowed to be successful at the top at any given time. So there's only a limited amount of people at the top that have the success model that we're all willing to learn from. So what happens is they acquire a bunch of smaller, really good artists, and they keep them below a line. And the reason why is if we're not making enough, all right, or if they can claim that, let's say, there's a lot of returns, or they can claim that, okay, then they're always counting on us not making enough to go to court and litigate.
It's true.
They're trying to rip you off just enough where me and Melissa aren't going to spend $10,000 and fly to Chicago and sit in a courtroom.
Right. Exactly.
So if we were litigating tens of thousands of dollars, then I can get an entertainment lawyer and we could throw punches.
Yep.
But if they're doing nickel, dime,
exactly.
And if you have 300 artists on your label and they're only making $300 a quarter, but you have 300 artists acquisitionally each quarter, right? You're pulling in $500,000.
Yep.
But none of the small artists are realizing they're part of this $500,000 pool.
Right.
So like, do you want to take them to court, Melissa? Oh, no. Well, this quarter they only got us for $250. Yes, but they got 300 other bands for $250 during that quarter. 4 quarters in an entertainment season.
And for all that, you're at their mercy to the point where a very common horror story in the music industry is that, you record an album for them and they decide to shelve it.
Yep.
You do all that and you don't have the rights to your masters.
Yep.
And they just say, no, we've decided we're not going to release it, or maybe we'll release it in the future. And it's like,
and we tested them on this theory when we came out with the song "You Already Know."
Yeah.
It wasn't really, it was more like a rhetorical that we wanted to test the company to see what they would do.
Really?
We predicted that we started to say, okay, these guys are shelving us. Let's throw them another single. And see if they ask for money.
Yeah.
So we use "You Already Know" as a single, and we set up a booby trap to see how they would, to see if we could confirm that they were shelving us.
Yeah.
And they 100%, they wouldn't release that. They wouldn't release the single.
No
They
kidding.
didn't want the song.
They didn't want, they only wanted the song under the condition that we released it after they were done promoting their boutique artists.
Okay. Yeah, because
So
obviously it came out eventually.
I thought that they were taking all of our money and pushing this boutique artist. I'm not going to say the name because I think it would be unfair. I don't even think they know what's happening.
Yeah.
So I think they were taking, 200 of us. They were taking our money acquisitionally and they were pumping it into to their white glove boutique bands.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what
so
I mean?
they didn't like the timing.
So they
Yeah.
did. I saw them doing this. So I said, man, let's go to the studio and make a song real quick and see how they react to it. I'll say we'll do the best we can on it.
Yeah.
You know, like sonically.
Yeah.
Like we'll bring it up to radio threshold. We'll hit notes. Like let's just see what they say.
Yeah.
You know, and of course when they got the track, they made every excuse for us to go back to the studio. For us, they started playing games and trying to redirect us to the studio to buy time.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So we played it with them for a while, and just proves that you got to find the beauty in everything. And if it wasn't for this relationship, I would not have been able to run competitive campaigns against my own record label. Mm-hmm. Like in the process, I realized that Sepsiss is acquisitional. So just the same as these guys are doing to other people, we can learn the same tricks as legacy right holders and shareholders too. Not everybody. They're not the only people that can play that game.
Right.
So our time that we've spent with our record label, we've been making best friends with everybody on their staff.
Yeah, and you learn.
And
that's good. The other thing that people don't know about labels is that I think is interesting is they actually don't mind if they sign artists and they end up losing money because maybe they advance you a bunch of money.
Yes.
And the whatever you record doesn't generate enough money for them to recoup the money, the advance. They don't care because if it's a loss on the books, that's actually helpful to them from an accounting standpoint in terms of taxes.
Yep.
It's the same thing that movie studios do. You know, every major movie studio every year they've got at least a couple movies that bomb that end up losing money. They don't mind. Mm-hmm. They don't mind at all because that's a tax write-off. Mm-hmm. So they don't mind losing some money.
Makes sense.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, after every big show, there's always 5 or 10 T-shirts that we don't mind giving out.
Yeah,
I mean, it's real.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're on that label for another year, you said?
Another year. So there will be a Spotify Sepsiss showdown.
Yeah.
There will be huge. Mm-hmm. Guaranteed. Yeah. It'll be huge.
But then so what's the motivation though to pull from Spotify? Why do you want to do that?
Because they're thieves.
Yeah. They just don't
because they hurt people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to hang out with people that hurt people.
Even major artists complain that, it's pennies for
and for us it's not just what they're doing, it's what they're gonna do.
What do you mean?
Spotify is not a music company. It's a stealing company. So if you're into Marcus Aurelius or Confucius, they can't be resurrected to collect royalties. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why the move to audiobooks. That's why Spotify will take whatever that's not nailed down.
Oh, podcasts and
pornography, anything, religion, anything. You got to understand, Spotify is in the business of stealing people's work and ideas and then not paying them for it. That's the game.
Right.
I know it seems obvious, but it really is. It really is. Tupac can't come back to life and argue about mechanical royalties.
That's true.
So that's why you see.
Good point.
That's why you see Spotify moving to podcasts. That's why you see him moving towards audiobooks.
Yep.
Because it's not about music. It's about owning data. It's about farming data. It's about adding to machine learning. And it's about being able to predict your shopping habits.
Right.
It's not about music. It's about creating bundles that people will sign up and do subscriptions for. And when you subscribe, they are data mining your demographics.
Oh, absolutely.
And this is the same for Netflix and Grubhub. This is an app world. This is a technology world, not a music world. So Spotify is in the tech business, not the music business.
Yeah.
And that's why they don't care about musicians.
Yeah, they're actually, I think now, because we've talked about it on the show, I think for the first time they're starting to cut a lot of people loose. Like if you don't have, I know for one thing, they're no longer paying you if you don't meet a certain threshold.
Yes.
In terms of money that you've accrued for streams, they're just not going to pay you at all. Like they're establishing thresholds, but they're also, I think they've reached a point where, because in theory, anybody could upload music to Spotify, but now they're starting to like artists that are uploading like demo quality stuff. They're just saying
that's why I said the lowest of the low and the highest.
Yeah, they're starting to kick people off.
And they're also following the predictable path of adding tiers with high fidelity audio. Like it's 2024. I think that's weird that Spotify doesn't have high quality audio.
Right.
But apparently you have to pay for that too. So you got to understand how ridiculous this sounds.
Right.
Like Sepsiss is a band and we mix and master at the highest quality that technology is provided. But when you upload it to Spotify, they knock it down to low quality music.
Can you believe that?
So this is why we wouldn't want our music on Spotify, because like bands like Sepsiss make high quality music.
Right.
But Spotify charges our fans to listen to our music at high quality. That doesn't make sense. Our fans should be able to have the quality of the music that we created it at.
Yeah. Now, is it a double-edged sword though? If you do pull your music from Spotify, does that hurt you in some way to not be on Spotify?
Not us.
No.
Our band doesn't benefit at all from streaming on Spotify.
Yeah.
Yeah. The big thing I guess the big lure to Spotify when it's not, we all know it's not money. When you talk to even big artists, they'll tell you it's not money.
Right.
The thing that they'll tell you about Spotify, the big reason why we're all supposed to be excited to be on it, is for exposure.
Yeah.
Sepsiss doesn't need that.
Yeah.
I mean, so and in order to get exposure on Spotify, you have to give them more money.
Right.
You have to pay for marquees. You have to pay for advertising campaigns. You have to pay to be on these discovery. That's payola. We all know in radio that's illegal.
Yeah.
So you're a radio guy. You know, in radio that's illegal. It's a crime. But because it's streaming, it's not a crime.
Yeah.
So
we should clarify just for people who don't know. So payola refers to in radio, and back in the day, you know, if you were a DJ, for example, somebody might give you an envelope full of money and say, "Hey, play this song for me."
Right.
Basically, I mean that's a little reductive the way I explained it, but just to give people the idea, and that is illegal. You can't.
It is. And I guess I
mean, there's all sorts of legal ways
for sure
to do this as with anything, but yeah, that is illegal.
Our big mission has always been a big statement. And part of our brand has always been like fairness, man, and what we've learned from the record label. And like, we weren't really a band with much of a mission before all of the stuff we had to work through, you know. But I can say for sure that one of our slogans is, you know, fairness, you know, and being inclusive and mutual. And that's why we do all the podcasts.
Yep.
That's why we're teaching people all the time. And people are convinced that being on Spotify is going to get them exposed to someone. But that's not true, because subscribers that subscribe and pay for Spotify, they only listen to under 50 artists a month.
Yeah.
So this is not a device or a gadget or gizmo, as much as they like you to believe. It's not one that's invested into discovering artists. That sounds cool in a Facebook post. That sounds great when you're trying to sell your technology.
Yeah.
That sounds great, you know. But this idea came from the same guy that used to work for, you know, uTorrent and BitTorrent.
Sure.
And sites that you know, these pirate sites.
Well, yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean,
we're in the business of stealing data
Yeah.
and media. So Daniel Ek is the CEO of Spotify.
Yeah.
And if you know who Daniel Ek is, you got to start in uTorrent.
Yeah.
And you know, uTorrent and places like LimeWire or Pirate Bay were illegal websites that specialized, and were experts at stealing data and media and movies and games and music.
Yeah. But that's also why these services exist. Like
sure.
I just think of it this, like Spotify exists because of Napster.
Yes. And so, and when we talk about this in plain English, it means that we went from stealing and outright piracy to streaming. Mm-hmm. We're only 1 degree. We're only one click. And in 2 decades, we've only moved 1 degree from stealing. So when people are like, why is Spotify a difficult place to be? It's because we haven't moved the needle, Matt. Mm-hmm. We're still that close to stealing. Mm. Now think of it in terms of this, we just had Juneteenth, right? Mm-hmm. Think if we only moved the needle that much in slavery.
Right. Yeah. Oh, it's a good
think if we move the needle only that much in women's rights. It's that simple. Like,
well, with women's rights, we just move the needle back.
I hate that. But
I'm not
going to do it to you. I'm not right. I'm not going to do it. I just exploded the other day on that. I'm not going to do it.
But that's a separate. Yeah,
we'll do that another time. Yeah. Right. But in the same sense, though, in the same sense, it's like we haven't. I know we're supposed to be this advanced, society, and this is supposed to be, the land of the free and the land of opportunity. And Spotify will tell you that. That's the big advertisement. Is that, that we're going to get exposed and there's all this opportunity. But if you know anything about Daniel Ek and where he comes from stealing media and music. And he just said recently that, what do you say, Zach, that the cost of music or the cost of content creation was nearly zero?
I can't believe that.
I mean, this he said this last week on Twitter. He said, the CEO of Spotify said, the cost, he seems to know how much Sepsiss' budget is, I guess. Yeah. But he said that the cost that musicians, he doesn't play any instruments.
Yeah.
This isn't a guy that's been on stage or sings or anything, but he seems to believe that the cost of creating music for musicians in the modern day is nearly zero.
He is out of his mind.
Go check it out. Clearly hasn't been to a Guitar Center lately.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, So, years ago when they were selling us this technology, it was going to open up opportunity and musicians were going to be able to help themselves pay the rent. And we don't have a musician's minimum wage yet.
Right.
And we're working on it. I think the Musician Minimum Wage Act is asking for a penny a stream.
Right? Oh, I'm not aware of this.
Oh, you'd love this. This is a bill right now.
Okay.
There's a bill. And everyone loves it. It's called the Musicians Minimum Wage Act. Everyone should go look it up, and everyone should go sign the petition.
Interesting.
You got to get into this.
Yeah, this got past me. I'm embarrassed to say that, but yeah, I'm not aware of this.
Oh, please write this down. Cause maybe
it's being recorded.
Oh, that's true. Well, if you're at home and you're listening to this, y'all got to write this down. If you're a musician, if you're a band, look up, the Musicians Minimum Wage Act.
Okay.
It's really cool.
Interesting. Very interesting.
It's a cool thing to get behind.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we were able to get in all that. I love talking about that stuff. But as we approach the top of the hour, we should probably circle back to all the exciting things coming up. And
well, we've got a second album coming out called Take the World by Swarm.
Yes.
And we've been releasing singles for this over time rather than, just dropping the bomb all at once.
Yeah.
We've got a new song coming out soon called Bathwater, which is going to be featuring our merch girl, Lexi Swarm, on Screams.
Excellent.
We're super excited for this one. We'll be making a music video for this as well, so
cool.
Stay tuned for that.
Yeah, our new guitar player, Hot Sauce, drops a cool solo on it, too.
Okay.
It's something really different, something really cool.
So that'll be on the new. Is that going to be on the new album?
Yes.
And Romance and Reality, will that be on the new album as well?
Yes.
Okay, cool, awesome.
Rockfest we mentioned earlier, July 20th in Cadott, Wisconsin, and Bravo Fest September 28th at Charlie Bravo's in Connecticut.
And we'll also be at Hot Rod's Spotlight Lounge in Connecticut, also on August 31st.
Okay.
So
that one's in Middletown.
We got a couple things. We got a couple things going on.
Yeah. You're not a band that like plays like tons and tons of shows and oversaturates, which I respect.
We try not to do that
because some bands do. I've back in the day, I used to play in bands that would do that.
You know, people won't. Well, you know what? The issue is that you keep telling the same people to come to the shows.
Yeah.
And then, it loses its sauce.
Oh, yeah,
You want to give people a break.
Like, I don't regret it because there was a time when all I wanted to do was play.
It's also a different time.
But
people had time to pray back then. Like, people prayed. People went to church. People did push-ups. People played video games all weekend. People made love. People went out to dance. People don't have time for that anymore. You got to look at your algorithm and then go boost. You got to boost your chart and go compete with somebody.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And then Swarmy Fest in November.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
November 2nd.
November 2nd.
I would be honored. I would love if you guys would come and be a part of that this year. Everyone's excited to have you guys.
Yeah, we're excited. We're very excited.
Try to
about
keep
that.
me away.
Yes.
And of course, I didn't know you had a microphone over there.
Huh?
That's awesome. Yeah, so we're going to have 11 bands. Everything we do is 11. 11 songs on every album, 11 bands.
Why is that? Does that number have significance?
It does.
So we have the album Almost 11, which was released in 2020 through Pavement. And we named it that because the band constantly sees the number 1111.
We see
we see like
ones over and over and over again.
Yeah, it's like numerology. Like,
I've heard that 1111 specifically has some significance.
Yeah.
They call them like angel numbers. We're not like religious people or nothing like that, but that's just what they call them.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
Lore, tradition.
But the whole band sees the numbers.
Yeah.
So it's bizarre.
It's very bizarre.
And so we're excited about Swarmy Fest, and obviously we'll have more information about that soon.
Yep. Your friends are going to be there though. They're coming back this year. Legion of Solace.
Oh, love them.
And they're coming.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so they'll be coming to hang out with us. They'll be there all day Saturday, and our friends from New Hampshire Guitars. Should be coming down too. I'd love to get them down here with you guys. They are such a fantastic bunch. Yeah. So when I plug the Swarmy Fest,
we'd be happy to.
Man, they are a great bunch to have down. I mean, there's a whole group of these guys, and they're great players.
Yeah.
And they are just so New England and so New Hampshire.
Yeah.
They belong here.
Yeah.
I could already feel it.
Yeah.
But they got a really cool thing going on in Wyndham. It's the only place I get my guitars teched at.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah.
Before any big shows that I have, anytime we need like unique gear fixes, stuff that nobody else would touch.
Yeah.
New Hampshire Guitars, man, they do the thing.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so we play on these things called head rushes. They're like computers.
Yeah.
And if you called Guitar Center, they wouldn't touch it.
Really?
Yeah, New Hampshire Guitars had it fixed within a week.
Okay. All right.
So, guitar setups, bass setups. They got lessons down there.
Yeah.
I'll plug them to death because they're really good.
Yeah, we met them at the first Swarmy Fest.
Oh, okay, that's
I remember
right.
because
Okay,
they had a booth in the back. Yeah, yeah. They seem like really good guys. Yeah. What should people know about how to find Sepsiss online? Where's the best place to go and keep up with everything that you're doing?
Sepsiss.com.
Yep.
Right at our website.
And we should spell it. It's SEPSISS.
Right. I don't know if is there an actual like Sepsiss with one S.com? That might confuse people.
I don't know.
Where do we
I've
rank
never
on
looked that up.
I'm gonna now that you said that.
Where do we rank?
Jenny's gonna look. Yeah.
I'm on it.
Has anyone ever?
SEPSIS.org.
All these years, I've never tried to look it up.
Points to a .org.
Gotcha.
And it's basically teaching people about the medical sepsis.
Good.
Gotcha.
I hope we don't
good.
confuse people.
Yeah.
Good.
Has anyone ever misspelled your name on a flyer?
All the time, but
really?
but there's like 40 bands named after the disease.
Yeah.
We follow all of them.
Website's looking awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's Melissa's work there. I can't take any
excellent.
credit.
Looks
for that.
great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
There's a lot of content there and really good stuff. I'm gonna be a little bit selfish. I'm gonna end with my favorite Sepsiss song, and my dad loves this song too. By the way, this is the one that I think got his attention. Eyes of Empathy.
Oh wow,
That's a good one.
Wow,
love this song. We haven't played it in a while, but I never get tired of it. It's so good. So we will end with this, but thank you, all three of you. I really appreciate your coming in today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Always,
Thanks for having us.
Always wonderful to see you. And here it is. This is Sepsiss, Eyes of Empathy.